Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Good. All right, so the market is just about to open. So is that either PPI or CPI number? I don't know which one it is. It doesn't really matter. But that high impact news came out at 8:30. That's the reaction it had there. We're taking the London highs from the other day, from Monday, taking that liquidity out. These dash lines are a premium wick on the daily chart. And we have the buy side up here. I want to be leaning for the daily buy side, but I don't want to rule out a move lower, certainly to these lows. I got pretty frustrated yesterday, but I'm feeling much better today. Let's see what we do here. Snapped up to that upper quadrant. So bring this to the open. That is the new day opening gap. The gap closure is interesting to watch. But do we want to do we want to go take this buy side? That's what I'm curious about. Wouldn't be shocked if we move lower first. Looks like we're gonna make a run on these lows here. Trying to still keep a really loose bias because there's still more high impact news coming out tomorrow. Um, and I could see it going either direction. I could see it leaving the daily buy side intact and coming back into the range. Uh, Lots of equal lows down here and a very large new day opening gap. This wick is interesting to watch. It perfectly overlaps that daily uh, consequence encouragement. So that is interesting. Drawing to the new week opening gap could be interesting. Plus, we have the mid gap closure. The 5 minute candle is going to close here soon. So I would expect a retracement into this range. And I'd like it to use the wick here to go lower. I have my order placed inside of this inefficiency, which is first presented for value gap. So we went and tipped that a little low there. So suspension block right there. It's my fill. A body closing above that midpoint. I wanted it to stay below that. Volume imbalance below there, so that's the proper level. If it leaves this wick to the downside, I'm going to go to break even because I don't want to see a return back inside after we leave it. I want it to use the lower half. So there you go, going to break even. Because I just want to see continuation. Because if it comes back up, it could take this high and I'll have to deal with more drawdown. It should just run. Needs to go quick. So $100 profit is right around 881. Right about there. Need to overcome this suspension block and use it as inversion to the downside. I'm going to lock in my $100 profit and just demand that it use this as inversion. This might be a little too aggressive, but after yesterday, I want to just lock in some profit. Just demand that it snap on down to the mid-cap closure. Could be too early, but there you go. So I'm out there for $100 profit. So that was a pretty easy trade. Not too bad. $100 in 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. Not too bad. Got to close below that midpoint of this suspension block. It's positive for lower prices. I know that's aggressive, but I'm okay with that because I really struggled yesterday during the lunch macro, and I was rather upset. I'm feeling a lot better today, but just getting this really easy win um, is good for morale, basically. So, and it mitigates a lot of the loss from yesterday. Easy peasy. We are in an area where it could reverse on the higher time frame. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we're trading into a breaker, bullish breaker. High, low, and then it broke the high. So there's a breaker on the 15-minute chart in here, and that's where we're trading. So, and there is still that daily buy side. So I'm just taking the easy money, but doesn't mean it will stop here. It could. So pretty precise entry as well. It's not too bad. I feel like if it's going to be bearish, it needs to go lower on this candle or the next candle. If not, then it could come up to that high. Oh. Yes, has a lot of stacked highs here. A lot of stacked lows as well. All right, so it needs to go lower on this candle, or I think it'll take this high because it's already traded to a premium of this range. And if that's not good enough to go lower, then that means it's reaching for a higher premium. It's going higher, calling it. There's no confirmation of it going higher, but just based off time alone, the time it's spent here, I think it's more likely to start heading up. Um, while we did get a body below this midpoint, the bodies did stay inside the low. So technically this is still holding price. And we took all of this internal liquidity here. And with such a major buy side above the market, it's just kind of iffy what direction it wants to go in for me. Mid gap closure is still a nice place to shoot for. All right, so now that it's swept these little internal highs and it has come down, it needs to really pick up a lot of speed here. If it continues doing this for a couple more minutes in here, it's going to head higher. So it needs to go very fast through here on this candle or the next candle. Because now it's selling. So you want to see more selling below this low. See, that's not what you want to see. It's probably going higher. Just about 950 macro. It's kind of nice being really demanding with your trades because I got out for profit right here. Pretty close to the low. Not too far off from it. And now I don't have to deal with all of this stress of, oh, it might come get me at break even. I've already made $100. Being demanding is kind of nice. All right, so there's that minor buy side getting taken. Look at it snap through that real quick. See the logic here? If it's going to go lower, it should come up to the low of this wick, maybe trade into it once or twice, and then whenever this red, maybe even 3 times with the red candle, but when this red candle comes in, it needs to go lower immediately, quickly. When that doesn't happen, this high is getting taken out because it's spending too much time here. Price should go quickly in the direction you want to see it move. Curious to see where the midpoint of that body lies. Right, look at that. So that's the order block. See that? So when you get a body closing below a midpoint of a key level, it shouldn't psych you out too much because there could be another key level that's just outside of your peripheral. In this order block, that's where that body stopped. So, and in my mind, as a general rule, if there's liquidity being swept when a body disrespects a level, in my mind, it's justifiable because it is fulfilling a different purpose, which would be to sweep liquidity. So whenever it does this, while yes, it is a sign of bearishness, it's also technically permissible if we're bullish because it's taking liquidity. But also another possibility, there could be a separate key level that it is trading to perfectly. I mean, yeah, look at that. We'll zoom in on it. It closed a tick above right there. So we took that. Closed just outside of the first presented, the high, right there. Respected the higher time frame breaker. This could head lower now that it's taken liquidity. This could be second stage distribution lower. Um, we're in macro as well. And this has come back down pretty deep. If it's going to be bullish, it shouldn't really be coming down this deep. It's trading to this order block. But this seems like it could still be bearish. There's a 5-minute inversion for a value gap. I'll just throw it over here for a second. The 5-minute, I'll just show it. The 5-minute closed inside of that with the bodies. This is a balanced price range. Buy side delivery, sell side delivery. Right there. I believe you'd use that as your balanced price range. So either it won't trade to this at all, Or if it does, it should be extremely sensitive and go immediately lower if it's going to be bearish. It's a real nice reaction off of it. On the next candle, if we trade back up into this wick, I'll get in short. But I want to wait for the next candle. Preferably this closes below that level. Look how sensitive. It might not offer me a deeper premium. That's okay. I would have needed to get in with a limit order, and I was going to use a market order. It did hang around at this level long enough. I could have gotten in right around in here, but I was waiting for a pop up into here, like a really quick pop and then back down, and I was going to try to get in at the high of that pop, but it just didn't offer it. But you can see how precise and sensitive that is. It did exactly what I said it should do. Um, so this is looking like second stage distribution lower. We're in this inversion for value gap. There's this low here, a new weak opening gap, and then the mid gap closure. You really should take out low of day here. Closed outside of that inversion, so that confirms it for inversion. Hesitant getting in on the inversion here because we're kind of deep into discount. So if this is my draw, just kind of eyeballing it, I would want an entry a little higher up. Well, 5 minute real quick, see what that looks like. And I'm watching a 5 second chart on my other monitor for my entry. Whenever I need to get in quick, I use my 5 second chart because I have a market order set up with risk and target that automatically gets placed. Um, so we have a body here closing below the mean threshold of that order block and below the inversion for value gap. And now it's reaching for a premium. Um, and it left equal lows. Equal lows down there on ES. That looks really nice to draw to. It's going to be weak. It needs to run lower very quickly here, below low of day. Oh, it is 10 o'clock, so that's interesting. Um, it's been kind of high resistant. Like, I don't know. It's been a little high resistance. It really has. It's spending a lot of time in a range, trading back and forth. So it's been a little high resistance. So I think 10 o'clock, we could see it break away from this range that it's stuck in. But there's buy side and sell side in the market right now, above and below the market. There are draws on liquidity. So I'm leaning short in this moment because we took an internal buy side and then we respected this balanced price range and the wick midpoint. And there's sell side here because we've already taken buy side. So the next thing it should do is take sell side. But it is being kind of slow to do it. ES does have real nice equal lows down here. A lot stacked lows below that. That's another reason to be leaning short. Minor sell side taken. It'd be real interesting if it's sweeping this one and then leaving that one. Um, okay, it should. There you go. It took it. New week opening gap. Buy side right here. Stacked highs right there. It isn't really running lower like it should be if it's going to be weak. ES is making a grind for that sell side. Um, so we took liquidity and then reached for a key level below liquidity, and we're snapping off that. And there's minor buy side above the market, and this is high resistance. So this seems like a nice turtle soup for these highs. I don't know if I want to trade that idea. This was the cleanest run all morning, and I managed to capture that pretty easily. And now that I know we're in high resistance, I want to be pretty selective. I would already be at break even. Had I decided to get in right here, because I was thinking about it, I'd be at break even already and be extremely demanding because it's high resistance. Like it would be a scalp. Um, Hmm. These are real smooth. That's London session liquidity right there. And it's right over top of the lower quadrant. And then these are also really, there's a lot of sell side below the market. And we've taken buy side. And now we're accumulating in a premium. Daily premium wick here went to the upper quadrant, snapped below the midpoint. So there's reasons to be bearish. Big new day opening gap to draw towards. gonna grade this wick because I'm curious. White so I can see it a little easier. I'm gonna get rid of this balanced price range, just eyeball that. It's just too much. So we took minor buy side. That's nice. So that's your scalp from this PD array up to liquidity and this midpoint. I wonder if you project this wick forward, if you get this high. Yeah. All right. Took this minor buy side as well, right there. So we're generating a lot of sell side on this move up with the wicks. If you look at a 5-second, pivot low, 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 and they're all stacked up. This isn't displacing higher. It's taking buy side liquidity and kind of doing it in a real just slow manner, and it's staying below the midpoint of this wick. So it does not seem very bullish to me as of right now. 10-10 macro ended here. This would be interesting if that was a key high. And we move lower from there. That'd be interesting. ES still has that sell side down here. Bearish SMT on ES. See how much quicker it ran down? If you compare this move down with the move up, this was a lot faster. I'll be back momentarily. All right, I'm back. So we have a sweep, break in structure, discount, order block, reclaimed, bullish for value gap. But we're in high resistance. So context is so important. Um, at first glance, this could look bullish. It could seem like we're going to respect this reclaimed and head higher. But we still have mid gap closure. Um, and we're in high resistance. There's, ES still has that sell side down here. Um, so it's really important to just keep all the context in mind. If you're seeing some, because you might see something on the chart that isn't there, or it might be there, but it's fake. It's purposefully put there to entice you to do something. That's how I'm viewing this structure here, because you have a sweep of liquidity, a break in structure, and a pullback to discount. Seems bullish. But with the context, I don't trust it. Probably likely to see movement at 10:20. I've noticed that the 20-minute mark after the first hour, price can spool up until the 30-minute mark, and then the 30-minute mark can potentially create a swing high or low. So it's pressing higher right now. So people are buying it in this moment. I don't know if I trust that because it's breaking out of these highs. Retail traders are buying it here. I really don't think it's going to have any follow through. And again, look at this wick. The bodies have stayed below the midpoint. It's also using this balanced price range here as well. Also, equal lows down here now, sell side liquidity. Rip retail traders. And that's their stop out. Seconds before 10:20. Seconds. That move started 20 seconds. I'm looking at the 5-second chart so I can see exactly when it started. This move down started at 10 o'clock, 19 minutes, and 35 seconds. So 30 seconds, 25 seconds before 10:20, when I said it would go, it went. It expanded, started spooling to the sell side. Crazy. Thank goodness for ICT, because I never, ever would have imagined having that much precision with price and time, like when it would do something. He hasn't even taught me anything about 10:20 doing anything. It's just what I've noticed after studying his work so much. I never would have noticed that had I not studied his work, because I wouldn't be paying attention to time of day, because no one else teaches that. Um, Obviously, I only noticed that because of the concept of macro times that he's taught. I've noticed that half-hour marks can create significant swing highs and lows. And I've noticed right before that half-hour mark, 10 minutes before, around, the 20-minute mark, it will start spooling in the direction that that pivot high or low will form at that half-hour mark. Obviously, like market conditions will affect that concept that I've kind of just noticed in price. But because we're in a high resistance liquidity and we're chopping, I feel like that's what could happen. But if it's like a trending market, that might not necessarily happen. Like if it's just running in a direction. Traded up to the order block here in this wick upper quadrant of the new day opening gap. Created equal lows here. Closed inside of the suspension block. So it reached all the way up to this array and then closed all the way back down inside of this array. Gotta say, it feels really good making $100 at a very precise level in just about 4 minutes, being really demanding with it doing exactly what I want. And when it didn't do exactly what I wanted, I made $100. And then immediately after that, we got high resistance liquidity. And I haven't had to deal with any of it. That's really nice. Also, I've called a lot of these moves pretty accurately within the high resistance. Like this balanced price range here, I called that it should trade into it and immediately snap off of it or not trade to it at all. And that's exactly what it did. Right here on this candle, I said if it closes outside of this array, then on the next candle, I'll look to get in short if it trades back into this array. I didn't get in short because it didn't go deep enough for me to want to get in. It didn't offer me a high enough premium. But what did it do? Just touched the low, and then the very next candle snapped lower. And then right here, I said this seems bullish up to the buy side, the minor buy side, because we swept the sell side. The new week opening gap was highly sensitive, and then we closed above this suspension block. Very next candle trades into the high of the suspension block and then goes and takes the buy side. And then I even called this move here not looking bullish, that it was tripping retail buyers and that it would go lower and that I didn't trust it. And then it immediately went lower and took their stops out. Now what's happening here? I didn't talk about this because I was just talking about everything else I was right about. But right here, the bodies are respecting this array. It's failing to press lower. And that makes sense to me because if it's going to be bearish, it only has this swing low to work with for liquidity because it took liquidity here. Okay. So it would make sense to leave a relatively equal low right here, trip early shorts below this low, because what is this? This is a break of structure to the downside now. And they're allowing retail to accumulate shorts here. And where's retail putting their stop losses? Above this high and above this high. And now they're running against that. And there's the minor buy side taken. So at 10, 1020's here and we're spooling, but it started spooling at 25 seconds before 1020 on this candle. It ran lower. This is your Judas swing. Smart money accumulation below the liquidity here and at a key level. Order block. Then it ran the buy side right at 1020. And now I will allow it to continue running higher up until right around 1030. So right around this time, I would expect most likely a reversal back into this range. So it has up until here to go as high as it wants. Basically, that's what I'm saying. What color should I use to highlight? Do orange. No. We'll do, I don't know. We'll do pink. Trading into this small order block right here. This down close candle. This is the main order block to be concerned with, though. The lower quadrant of that wick. So I said I'll allow it up until 1030 to continue going higher, but it started pulling back before 1030. So to me, that makes me think it's pretty weak because I was expecting a reversal at 1030, but it started slightly earlier than that, at right around 1028, 1027. Sell side down here. Took the buy side. ES has souped highs as well. Equal lows below the market, plus the sell side down here. Oh, baby. Oh my gosh. My platform's lagging extremely bad. There we go. There we go. Crazy. I said that, and then it happened 2 seconds later. Insane. There you go. poor computer cannot keep up with that kind of volatility. There you go. What did I say? I said because it started going lower before 10:30, it's going lower early. It seems like that could be weak because technically it had all the way up until 10:30 to keep going higher, but it stopped early. And then I looked at ES. ES souped highs, had equal lows right here, plus down here, and then 2 seconds later, boom, snapped to that low. Pretty precise, even in high resistance. Well, I think I'm going to be done for the morning. Um, I love how I traded this morning. I love my entry. My entry was amazing. I saw that it was weak. My draw was the new week opening gap and mid gap closure for my kind of just best case scenario. Um, I got in at a premium price. I initially had my entry at the midpoint of this wick, but because this inefficiency, which is also first presented for value gap, because the low of it was in such close proximity, I raised my entry to the low instead. Because I figured if it goes to the midpoint, it'll probably mohawk up into first presented. And that's what it did. So I got in right there short. Stop was up here. Not above the high. It was uh, right around in here, inside this order block, and above the first presented. And then it moved lower. And whenever it traded below, actually, when we were right here on this candle, I said when it trades below this PD array, I didn't even say it needed to close, just when it trades below the low right there. I'll go to break even right here because I felt that if it's going to be weak, when it leaves the low, I want it to use the lower half to continue lower. And it didn't even trade back into the lower half. It just went lower immediately. And then on this candle, when it was trading below this suspension block, I locked in $100 profit right here, demanding with the same concept as up here. When we traded below the suspension block, I was demanding it use the lower half and just snap lower very, very quickly. So I locked in $100 profit right here. It came up, stopped me out for $100 profit in about 4 minutes. And then this horrible, horrible, horrible high resistance liquidity ensued. I didn't have to deal with it because I already made my money. And I called it, I called multiple moves in here, short and long, with high accuracy. So I'm really happy with how I traded today. I made some profit, really, really nice profit, and I called this with high accuracy, which very few people can do. So that's awesome. So I'm going to be done for now. Maybe if something looks interesting during the lunch macro, I'll come back. Maybe the afternoon session. But with the high impact news coming out tomorrow, I think after the high impact comes out tomorrow at 8:30, or no, yeah, 8:30. After that happens, I think we'll have low resistance liquidity. I think the market will trade much cleaner. Um, and we'll just have to wait until that time to see what price does to figure out a better bias, because there's currently sell side and buy side above and below the market, and it's hard to say where it's going to go first. So we'll just have to wait for tomorrow after that high impact news comes out. Uh, yeah, so I'm going to be done. This was an awesome, awesome morning. Uh, it's crazy to me. Uh, Before ICT, I never, ever, 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 ever would have been able to trade this with accuracy and with profit and be able to come out of it saying, wow, what an amazing productive morning with this price action. Um, Probably all, if not the vast, vast, vast majority of traders who don't use ICT concepts, right? Who are not educated by ICT, they had a horrible morning today. And they're probably long and short. Uh, like certain retail traders are short, certain retail traders are long, and they've probably been holding a position either all morning. Maybe they bought down here with a wide stop loss, right? And they're trying to see some profit. Maybe they shorted up here with a wide stop loss and they're trying to see some profit. And they've just been holding stressed all morning. Either that or they're getting chopped around back and forth and they've lost a bunch of money in here. Not ICT students. So it's really cool that I am one of the very few people on the planet that traded this um, and made a really easy profit and can say that this was a really productive morning. Most people, if you go to comment sections of platforms or live streamers or whatever, they're complaining about this. Not me. So that's awesome. And with that, I'm going to take a break.